Hello and thank you for watching my video. My name is Astrid Krasniqi. I'm Cisco CCNA, CCNP and Palo Alto certified instructor. On this video we are covering PCNSA 210 and this is chapter 5, Content ID. Now this is the fourth video of chapter 5, which is 5.4 Anti-Spyware Security Profiles. Now anti-spyware security will block spyware on compromised hosts from trying to phone home or beacon out to external command and control servers, thus allowing you to detect malicious traffic leaving the network from infected clients. So if we already have an infected client in our network and it's trying to beacon out to command and control servers, we will find out with anti-spyware security. Every anti-spyware signature defined by Palo Alto networks includes a default action. Updated anti-spyware signatures are made available for us every 24 hours by Palo Alto networks. Default anti-spyware security profiles. Like with other security profiles that we mentioned so far in other videos, there are two predefined read-only anti-spyware security profiles. You cannot delete them or modify them. But if you want to modify and then use them, you can clone them first and then modify the clone. Or you can click create one from scratch. To get to the antivirus security profile, you need to navigate to Objects, and then Security Profiles, and then Anti-Spyware. And as you can see there, we have two predefined profiles, Default and Strict. Default has 4 rules, while Strict has 5. Now Strict has got an extra simple informational. Now these are the severities. We have a critical, high, medium, and low, similar with the name they used here. And for the predefined strict one, we have a critical, high, medium, informational new one, and low. And then on this default, we have an action there. Action tells the firewall to take the action on a predefined signature action rule. So for example, whatever the signature says, that's what the action is going to take here. But on the strict one, we said we reset in the both. We reset in the client and reset in the server. Informational and low is a default. And I'm going to show you how to get there, how to actually create your own one and apply it. But first, let's talk about sinkhole operation. Now sinkhole operation, before we are starting creating this security profile or antivirus, we have to talk about the sinkhole operation because we're going to use this as well. Sinkhole operation, imagine the infected host in our inside zone, it's already infected, and it's trying to communicate to this malicious domain. It's going to try and look, for example, it's going to do a DNS lookup for that domain name to an IP address. Our firewall will be able to resolve that, but before it does resolve that, it will check with the DNS signature database to make sure that whatever that infected host is trying to resolve, it's not a malicious domain. So we'll check it first with our database. And I already have a text file. It's just a text file. We could either use our own one or we could use a Palo Alto networks database signatures, DNS signatures. And that will resolve the abc.local, the infected host is trying to resolve. It's actually a malicious domain. So instead of actually giving the IP address of malicious domain, we give an IP address of sinkhole. So the firewall will reply with 1.2.3.4. Then the infected host will try to access that, and the firewall, obviously that's going to be dropped, and then it will be the threat will be logged. All of this we're going to configure it, and then there's a few things that we need to do. So before we configure the anti-spyware, we need to configure the sinkhole operation. So if I go to the firewall, and we're going to configure in our policies, we're going to configure an anti-spyware. We're going to apply it to this inside zone to outside zone. To configure anti-spyware security policy, we need to go to Objects. Then we need to access Security Profiles. And in the Security Profile, we have anti-spyware. And as we said, there's two ones. There's a default and a strict. But we're going to create our own one. So add, and in the name, I'm going to call Astrid Anti-Spyware Profile. And then I'm going to select add, and in the role name, I'm just going to call it again Astrid rule, a rule, and a thread name you can choose like a specific entry. For example, used to match any signature contain the entered text as part of the signature name. So for example, say that I put here Microsoft. It's going to try and match all the signature containing the name Microsoft. Or you can choose anything you want really. You know, it's not just Microsoft. I'm not picking on them. Any, and then on the category, I can select, okay, I just want to have for adware, maybe auto generation, backdoor, botnet, and so on. Or I just leave it to any. In the action, I can select to default. Default is whatever the signature says of the anti-spyware. Or I can allow that traffic, but not generate logs, just allow it. Alert, so alert means allow, but generate a log. Drop, discard the packet and generate a log. Reset client, reset server, and reset both. They will all generate logs and drop the packet. Or we can block the IP address, either source or source and destination, and we can say how many seconds are there for. Let's just say that we're gonna drop, and packet capture we're gonna say to actually we're gonna take a single packet capture. We can take extended packet capture, or we cannot take any packet capture. Just take one. And then severities, let's leave it for all of them. But you can create, like for example, critical, high, and medium. Maybe it will be drop. And I can create another one, add rule 2, for example, asterisk rule 2. And in the action, I'll set alert for and take a packet capture for low and medium. Sorry, low and informational. So low and informational has alert, critical, high, and medium has drop. Exceptions, you can have an exceptions for some kind of signature that you don't want this rule be applied to. And then DNS signatures. As you can see, the DNS signatures, they come from the Palo Alto, or we can have our own DNS signature. Because I already have in my DMZ server a DNS signature, so I'm going to create my own external dynamic list. These are the dynamic list by Palo Alto, but I'm going to create my own one because I already have a server in my demilitarized zone that has the list, and I'm going to do it there. So I'll click OK here. And to create your external dynamic list, you need to go to same place, objects, external dynamic list. And in here we already have some dynamic IP list. They're going to provide our DNS signatures. But I'm going to create my own one. So add and say asterisk EDL, external dynamic list. And this is going to be not the IP list. We are going to have a domain list. And the source is on my server, my internal web server, 192.168.50.10, and it's a DNS Sinkhole. Text. And I'm going to check that list of DNS signatures for every 5 minutes. We can check it hourly, 5 minutes, daily, weekly, monthly. So 5 minutes. And click OK. Now, I've created that dynamic domain list, and we need to apply it. So we need to check it, what interface we are checking these lists from. Usually it's from the management interface, but we need to change it. So to change it, I need to go to device, and then go to under setup, services, service root configuration, and I need to customize this. So not use the management interface, customize it, and then on the external dynamic list, I want to use my 1.3 interface that's connected to the server, to the DMZ. So it's connected to the demilitarized zone server. And OK. OK again. And then commit that. I'm just going to show you, while this is committing, I'm going to show you that list. So if I go to my demilitarized zone server, which is here, and you can see that I already have DNS Sinkhole text. So I can show you. So for example, in there we have a abc.local, xyz.local. I added some other domains as well, just to make, you know, seems more interesting. But what I'm gonna do then, I'm gonna go to that PCA and I'm gonna try and access abc.local and xyz.local, and then we can see some well, suspicious domain access generated. Right. So let me, okay, go back to the firewall. This has completed successfully, and then we can go and test it now. So we can go back to objects, external dynamic list, and open my one that I created and test it. Just make sure that this firewall is actually being able to communicate with the DMZ. Yeah, it says it is accessible. That's good. And close that. Now here they're gonna appear all those lists. Whatever that I put on that DMZ server, they're gonna appear here. Okay. So I need to go back to my security profile, anti-spyware security profile, the one that I created, and open my one. And then in the DNS signatures, I need to add the one that I just created. So instead of using them, I'm going to use my own one as a sinkhole. Packet capture, yeah, we can take a single packet capture and click OK. Now I'm going to commit it again. Okay. Now if the commit has been successful, we can go and test it as well. We are actually going to apply that. I haven't applied it, so I need to go to inside zone to outside zone security policy under the actions and go anti-spyware and then commit it. Anti-spyware, the one that I created, okay there, and commit that. Okay, now the commit has been completed successfully. We can go and check under the monitors. Under the monitor log threats, we haven't got anything. We just see some of the virus, the one that we did earlier, threats. Now we'll go to the client and do some NS lookup and then see what comes up. So I'm going to open the command prompt and type NS lookup for abc.local. It says DNS Google, non-authoritative answer, none, we haven't found any IP address for NS lookup for abc.local. If I do NS lookup maybe for facebook.com, we see the Facebook IP address. We didn't see anything for abc.local. Let's do NS lookup for wikipedia.org. Yeah, we see the IP address as well there, and IPv6. But if we do NS lookup for, say, xyz.local, there is no IP address. Okay, those one, say the other ones I did, for example, NS lookup for shutterfly.com. No IP address either for that. Okay, so that should have generated some of the threats in our log. So if I go to monitor, log, threats, and then refresh this, and as you can see, now we have some suspicious domain. So for example, we have some spyware from inside to outside from this IP address asking the DNS server for these ones, for shutterfly, xyz.local, abc.local, and so on. Right, so we have, for example, now we have the action is being given to sinkhole. So instead of actually giving the IP address of the shutterfly, it's given the IP address of the sinkhole. So if I go back to object and external dynamic list and open the one that I created, and you can see that in the list there should be whatever I have created on my server on the demilitarized zone. So if I create, for example, a new one, say I go to that server and I create DNS Sinkhole, And let's just say here I'll create something that doesn't exist really. So say astrid.local, right? Okay. And now if I just view that, so cat, I know it's not seen on the screen, but cat DNS, I can see it's the one that I just added. So let me just put it down here. The one that I added here. So I'm gonna wait like 5 minutes here. I'm gonna pause the video, come back and refresh this. That should be all. Let's just see without pausing the video. It's gonna come up, but it's gonna be updated every 5 minutes. So it might not be there for 5 minutes. Okay, well it didn't take 5 minutes. It took about 2 minutes. And the one that I did add, it appeared here. And how to find it was go to Object, External Dynamic List, and then we created our own one. And on that list is there. The reason why we do this is because we want to generate our own quick suspicious domain lookup. Otherwise we can just leave it to Palo Alto Networks and we can ask them. So the whole thing that I did here was just so you can see it on the threat log, right? And what I did is I created my external dynamic list. So I clicked add and that came up. And I put the IP address of the server where this list is, and the server was on our virtual machine, the server on the DMZ zone. And then I set it to every 5 minutes. Clicked OK. I can actually automatically expand to include subdomains here. I forgot to do that. Click OK. And then under the device, I had to make sure that we're not using the management interface to actually get outside. We want to use the interface that is actually connecting to the DMZ server. So for that, I went to Service Device, Setup, Services, and Service Root Configuration. I used this external dynamic list. I used that IP address in that interface. Then I went back and I made sure that I can ping, or I can actually like just test it. It's like just pinging it. Test the source URL. It worked. Yes, it works. And then created the security or anti-spyware security profile and applied it on the security policy. So now when the client actually tries to get to that NS lookup, for example, astrid.local, that's going to generate a suspicious domain lookup. So if I go to my firewall now and check it, so go to monitor and threat, update that, and it should be here now. Yes, there we go. Thank you for watching lesson 5.4, Anti-Spyware Security Profile of Chapter 5, Content ID. Please have a look at my other videos and don't forget to subscribe. This has been Astrid Krasniqi.